All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans, iRacing fans from around the world, we are here at the Auto Club Speedway tonight here in Fontana, California, with a special event with Loose Lug Nuts. And tonight, my announcers that'll be up here in the booth with me tonight are going to be none other than Jeff Wood and one of our own drivers, Jeffrey Merck. And I'm going to hand it off to Jeff Wood. Jeff. All right. And Jeff, you're up.
All right, welcome everyone. Sal Broadcasting here, covering the Loose Lug Nuts special event series here at Auto Club Speedway with the Xfinity cars. Last time we'll see this Xfinity car set here on iRacing. Before we get into the whole driver thing and what's going on here this evening, introduce my co-host of Jeff Merck. Say hi.
Mr. Wood, what's up? YouTube land.
All
Nice
right.
to see you.
It is the Jeff and Jeff show. Ron sprinkled in. You'll be hearing Ronald Klein there. He's got our everything going on. So we got all this going on here this evening. So let's talk about this race first. So these are the non-winners, guys that have never won a race in Loose Lug Nuts history. From what we can tell, at least, we've been diving down the history boards looking at it. So that's the idea of this race. Give an opportunity for a driver that hasn't won or just came oh so close. And Jeff Merkin even contend on that. He's won races himself, but, second place finishes, when you start racking them up there, Jeff, it just seems to pile up again and again until you break that mark.
Yeah, it's almost like you get, I don't want to say into a rut, but it's like once you finish second place and like second place again or second or third or really even in the top five, you're like, what do I have to do to get this car to that spot? And even if you are leading late in the race, you push the car too hard, little too hard, get into the wall, get loose, let the guy behind you get in front of you. And before you know it, you got 3 or 4 second places stacked up there. So it's very easy to do.
All right. Now, beforehand, spoke with a couple of the broadcasters here, Mr. Jeff Wood and Mr. Jeffrey Merck. They've been walking down pit road, and they're going to have a couple drivers we're going to talk to beforehand, talk about the race, talk about what they might see. Jeff, if you got your guy ready, I'll pull him on up here, and we'll give him a shout.
Yeah, I was watching some of the pit party there. If you want to pull Gene Rogers up, that'd be great.
Copy that. We're going to bring Gene Rogers on up into the... Gene Rogers, this is Ronald Klein up in the booth. You got a copy, sir?
Yes, I do. How you doing, Ron?
Doing great. We're doing something a little bit different tonight. We're doing walking pit road. Notice you sitting there by your car, and want to see if we have a chance to chat with you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm right here.
All right, Mr. Rogers. I've been in here kind of watching you guys run some laps and some practice laps, and I noticed in that what we call a pit party where we all get out together and see what the cars will do that you were out front for the entire pit party there. Had a very good line. It looked like you had some good braking points. Any pointers, anything with the car that you didn't see or didn't like?
Not really. I noticed if you hit the apron in turn 1, it kind of helps it turn.
Yeah, so if you get down on the white stripe there, it gives you a little more grip.
Yeah, it almost kicks it loose instead of tight.
Yeah, 10-4. Now, being a driver here myself, I've run this track several times in this car, you notice the car being real pushy off of 4 like it normally is?
Yeah, it's very pushy. Real pushy. Especially after like 8-10 laps. It slows you right down.
Yeah, all right, 10-4. Well, go out there and give them the best you got, and watch out for that turn 4 wall. It'll reach out and bite you.
Yeah, had that happen a couple times. Take care, guys.
All right, there you go. This Mr. Gene Rogers is going to be out there running out for a chance to win tonight. Great information from that driver and a great interview by Mr. Merck. How about Mr. Wood? You got your pick lined up, and we'll see if we can get him up here.
Yeah, guy we mentioned a lot over on ASN, Topper Dugas in that new 33 car.
Copy that. Here comes. All right, we're going to send it down to Jeff Wood with Topper Dugas. Topper Dugas, we noticed you were down in the car. Jeff Wood's going to try to get a quick word in there with you if you have got a moment.
Yes, sir.
All right, Top. So new number, a little bit of a new paint scheme out there. Xfinity car. How well do you think you're going to do here tonight? Do you feel like you got a good line? We talked with the driver previously about his line. What do you think you have to run here this evening?
I personally feel like that this is probably my best chance is in the Xfinity cars. Me and Brandon Thornhill have worked a good bit on lines this week here, and I really feel like I've probably one of my better chances tonight.
All right. I mean, we're not seeing too much pack racing. Maybe in the beginning, and obviously not in this car altogether. We won't see that. But is there anywhere you could probably find more speed on the track? Do you got to be nose to tail with someone? Is that a preference, or are you just going to go out and run the best option for you?
I'm going to go out and run the best option for me. I think that maybe the first 2 or 3 laps after a restart, you might want to be nose to tail, but towards the end of the run, I think these cars will stretch out a pretty good bit. I know that last time we ran here, we didn't use a lot of left side tires. That seemed to help free the car up. So I expect, a lot of people to just take 2 tires on the first stop and maybe in the middle of the race take 4 and then 2 at the end. So that's kind of what I expect to see. I don't really see any pack racing. It's going to be whoever can maintain the speed the longest throughout a run is going to be who's going to be up front, I believe.
All right, thanks for those quick little insights there. Good luck on the race tonight. Maybe score a special event win here for yourself. Who knows? We'll see how that night goes for you.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, and we got time probably for one more interview, if you guys don't mind. I'm going to bring up Brandon Thornhill. If one of you guys can make it your way down to his car real quick. And here comes Brandon. Brandon Thornhill, you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight, man?
Very well, very well. I heard you're going to be our admin for the race tonight. Hoping that is correct. Number one. Number two, we noticed you're down there on pit road. Jeff Merck's on his way. I think he's literally running to your car right now to try to get a quick interview in with you.
I got you.
All right, Mr. Thornhill, we made it down here to your end of pit road. What do you think of the car tonight?
I'm actually getting ready to start making my first lap right now. I logged in real quick so I wouldn't miss the race. I was trying to eat supper as fast as I could so I wouldn't miss the race.
Oh, getting in a race car with a full stomach, I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but we'll see how that works out. But one thing I did notice this week is I noticed a picture of you on Facebook holding a super late model dirt trophy?
Yes, sir. I finally won something around here. I won the championship for our dirt series last year. Pretty proud of it. I didn't want to put my ugly face up with it. I tried to get the wife to do it, but she wouldn't do it. So.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. Have you noticed anything odd with the car? Is it doing anything? Have you checked your tire wear? Is the car wearing the right front, wearing the right rear? What's it doing?
I know in practice earlier this week it was wearing the right front pretty good if you didn't enter 1 and 2 just right. As far as tonight, I haven't made any laps just yet with it. I'm actually getting ready to start here in just a few minutes, so I'll find out something for sure then.
Now, I was also noticing track temperature is, where is it? Track temperature.
73
there it
degrees.
is. 73 degree track temperature. So there should be plenty of grip out there tonight. So go get them.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all for dope. I didn't do that, but thank you guys for broadcasting this thing, and thanks for the interview, man. It was fun.
Best luck to you tonight there, Mr. Thornhill. And with that, we're going to wrap up our pre-race interviews. We're going to turn it back over to Jeff Wood and Jeffrey Merck to just kind of banter back and forth a little bit about what we're going to see tonight, what else we can expect. And through qualifying, they'll call out some car numbers, and we'll look at them and tell us what Merck maybe talk us through when we get to that point about what the best way around this track is, because I do know you are quick here. With that, I'm going to hand it back over to you two.
All right, as Ron has to get the dog to stop paying attention to him. But after our interviews here, we're looking at these practice times. You know, that doesn't mean much here,
Stop.
Mr. Merck. It's all about that qualifying, but practice is a good indication on such a large speedway that doesn't use too much aero. Corey Blevins right now in that covered 48, but listed as the number 25 machine, fastest during practice. But you know, there's a lot of guys out there. Blevins has just missed a win, I think, and John Pansula, or Crazy Mike Pansula, however you want to call him, just missing wins all the time. So there's two guys out there in front of fast times that have a possibility to win here tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm looking down the drivers list here, and I mean, just with a quick scan, I'm seeing 5 or 6 possible drivers that I run with every week in the other series. I wasn't allowed to run in this race because I've won on asphalt. Corey Blevins, John Pansula. John Pansula's fast everywhere we go. Race is real clean. John Henderson, he's fast. Needham, Thornhill, Haney. Right there, I just rattled off about 7 drivers. Any of them very easily could win this race.
All right, I think Ron was interested in the line. If you want to share that little secret there, Mr. Merck, as we head into qualifying here in the next few seconds.
Well, yeah, line is really driver preference. Like me, I'll run it deep off into one, as without giving too much away. There's numbers on the fence, and really, my line is I'll sell it off into one, and then when I get to that light, that's where I turn in. And then on one, I get right down on the white line. Use the white line to help me turn, then right it up against the wall. I use the lights as my markers to get on the throttle, off the throttle, stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's a good thing out there if drivers are listening. Reference points. It's a big thing at places like Martinsville, even a reference point for braking. Obviously, Martinsville a little bit different because the guy out front controls the braking line for the most part. Watching John Pansula on my takeoff end here in that 01 machine as he will attempt qualifying, but we'll see him go down and sail this thing into 3. Now watch that 01. What would you do differently compared to what he's doing?
Coming off of 4, he was still like right here. I would be down on the white line a lot sooner than that, because we can use the apron here in qualifying, the loose lug nuts. He's got a good line going off into 1, it seemed. He stayed right up against the wall. He's down on that white line real tight right there. I might have would have stayed down on the line a little longer and then let it drift up by the wall, because the further you are off that white line through the corner, you're just giving up thousandths of a second. If you give up enough thousandths, they turn into tenths. So
that's for sure. Gene Rogers in his interview there said he found something, maybe just sticking that left front down as the man himself goes up on the board. We see Pansula cross down to the bottom. There he goes, gets a 2 tenths faster than Gene Rogers. Tierheimer will keep intact with Pansula. Let's transfer over to the 75 machine of Wally Tierheimer, who is now on his 2nd lap. He has to improve well over a tenth. Is your 2nd lap better than your first sometimes?
Yeah, on these big tracks, your 2nd lap can be. It just depends on how much, because as you can see right there, Wally really pushed it way too deep into 3. Really had to get out of the throttle out coming out of 4. A lot of people don't know these Xfinity cars get real pushy at this track coming off of 4.
Yeah, his 2nd time there, his 2nd lap time was a 49.18. Yeah, obviously he blew turn 3 like you mentioned. Let's see who else is out there. Topper Dugas looks to be slowing, so We'll have to see that is his final time right there. Sean Dewar in that 21 machine. Looks like he's putting down some times. Now he's been a guy that's been up front. He's been actually crashing out a lot of races, but he's been up front lately with his team there, Old School Motorsports. It looks like he had a bad turn 2 there, Jeff.
Yeah, 10-4. I was watching his line. He caught way too much of the apron in 1 and 2. Got him really loose. And when you get loose, you basically have to turn right to catch the ass of the car, is the way I say it. And when you turn back to the right, you get closer to the wall. And the only way you can stop from hitting the wall is you have to get out of the throttle. So, I mean, he pretty much threw that lap away. I don't know if that was the second lap or not, but.
Yeah, it looks like I'm trying to. Most of these guys, Brandon Thornhill, that 68 machine, a guy we just talked to, no practice time, putting down some laps. 12th fastest on his first lap. It looks like he's about to complete his second lap in that Ducati machine.
Not gonna be very good. He was off the line. Not gonna be a good lap for Brandon. It might actually be worse than his first.
Yeah, and I was about to say that same exact thing, Ronald. I was going to say I'm going to have to talk to Thornhill about that line through 3 and 4. He's way too high.
Sorry to jump in on you there, Jeff.
No,
I just happened to see that he was well off the what I would consider the preferred line through there.
All right. Guys still to qualify, maybe. John Henderson, rookie, will have to get his number up there. Tyler Needham, another one of those. I don't think he's having a good time of connecting at the moment. We'll have to see for Tyler Needham. Your teammate there, Mr. Merck, Tony Romack, in a comfortable 10th. Didn't look like he found a lot of speed on that track so far.
Yeah, the thing about Tony is he always gives me a hard time about how good of a qualifier I am. Tony's not really a good qualifier, but he does really good in the race. He takes real good care of his tires. He takes real good care of his equipment. So Tony might not be at the top of the speed charts in qualifying, but he's always a good top 7 car in every race, as long as he stays out of trouble, keeps the car clean. He'll be running up front before the night's over.
All right. With qualifying over, we're going to go ahead and get down to that grid real quick. Leading it off here, I'll run down it as we have about 18 drivers logged in. We'll see how many get to the track. John Pansula with that quick time, 43.95, gets him the pole position here at the special event race. Wesley Whitfield out of nowhere for second. We didn't cover any of his qualifying. We'll have to keep a close eye on that 74 machine second. Starting Corey Blevins, third. Wally Tierheimer will be fourth. Topper Dugas, one of our interviews there, pre-qualifying, fifth. Gene Rogers, sixth. Lucky, as you'll see him across the board, but Matt Egan from ASN in the 057 will be seventh. Andrew Feston will be eighth. Chris Voiles with a new number there. He'll be ninth. Tony Romack, just previously mentioned, at 10th. Sean Dewar, 11th. Trent Drum, a guy that is exclusively running the Xfinity Series coming up this winter season, will be 12th. Brandon Thornhill, 13th. Joel Bay will be 14th. First time I'm seeing his name. Hopefully we'll see him in the future. I know Keith Haney's not logged in, so we'll move on to 15th will be Judd Danielson. 16th, James Haney. 17th, John Henderson, and Lee Ryson Jr. in that 035. So officially, I think there's 18 cars on this field tonight.
And my apologies out there to everybody out there. For some reason, my grid was not working properly, so unfortunately, I was unable to show the actual grid while Mr. Wood was announcing it. But needlessly to say, y'all should have the information, and we did have the cameras on them, so thanks for that, Jeff. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, just another quick reminder before we get this race off. We'll go over the info of the stats real quick. It's a 100-lap race. One fast repair for these guys out there. There's no incident limit. This is a fun race, but also at the same time a competitive standard of trying to get these guys over that hump. These are guys that have never won here in Loose Lug Nuts Racing, we believe, going through the history before the race and whatnot. We'll have to imagine... there's even a champion out there who I just think logged in missing this race. I see him on the TeamSpeak side. Looks like Jeff Gilmore was trying to get in on this race.
All right, before they take the green, who's your pick, Jeff Wood?
Oh, gee, I'm going to throw Wally out there.
That's a good pick. How about you, Mr. Merck?
You know what? I'm gonna go with my buddy John Pansula. I think he's got the car. He put it on the pole. I know it's not a. I'm not going out on a limb since he's on the pole, but John Pansula is going to bring a trophy home.
He was going to be my pick. I'll go with Blevins then. I'll go with Blevins. Here we go. Call the green, Jeff Wood.
All right. Pace car is down. Green flag is out. Here we go for the special event series. A little bit of tire spin in the middle of the pack there. John Pansula with that quick time will lead us through turn number 1 in the Haviline machine. Going to have Corey Blevins, 48 covered, but 25 numbered. Down there in second. Wesley Whitfield losing a lot of time up on the top side.
Yeah, definitely getting up to speed going through 1 and 2 there, Wood. You definitely want to be on the bottom. Just make up so much ground through there because you're running the shorter distance.
Oh, yeah. He gets settled there in the bottom. Blevins really hard on the back end of Pansula right now. Topper not finding good time around this track. Battling for 4th side by side with my pick of Wally Tierheimer. Wally's going to have to get up and press him, or excuse me, Topper is. Topper didn't press him into that corner.
Yeah, no, definitely gave him too much room going in. Yeah, you got to be careful. I mean, you want to take care of your tires here, but you don't want to just let guys go by you because it's too hard to pass here when you get H10 laps all coming off the corners. It just pushes so much. Terribly hard to pass here.
Yeah, keeping an eye just around Hopper Dugas right now. Battle heating up up front. We'll catch that in a second. Matt Egan there, 057 now, door to door. Believe that is Gene Rogers with Chris Voiles there. So good 2x2 battle going on. Let's hurry up and step up towards the front as I think there's an official lead change. Corey Blevins out to the lead right now.
Yeah, looks like he definitely got around Pansula and actually opened up like a 2 or 3 car length lead there. You got to watch old Pansula though. He's sneaky fast. You might get in front of him at the beginning of a run, but once those tires start to wear, get a little heat in them, he'll be back up there.
Yep, profoundly great at sneaking into that top 5 spot. At the end of a race is that 01 machine, at least lately in the summer season where he did that quite a bit at the end of that run. Wesley Whitfield holding on to that third as we watch our leaders here. Tierheimer sticking in, looks like a good 4-car breakaway out front. We'll have to see if the 5th place guy, which is Matt Egan, can close that gap, but they're battling back there. Pass for the lead right now. Here goes Pansula sticking it in 3.
Yep, there's that old sneaky John Pansula, like I told you. Trying to think, that number's throwing me off. Corey Blevins looked like he got really tight off of 2. Might have got back to the throttle just a little too soon, and she got real pushy.
Yep, Mr. Merck, you mentioned those timing spots, at least for you. Visually, you got to stay with it. Sometimes you just make a mistake. However, John Pansula capitalized. There goes Blevins. He sticks it under. Is that the move we got to see tonight? You got to stick it out of 2 and then dive it into 3 for passing?
Yeah, really, the preferred pass to here is lay off a little in the entry where you can get a better run off of it. The best way racing was described to me when I first got into iRacing was it's not the last driver off the throttle that wins the race, it's the first driver onto the throttle that wins the race. So so any of you YouTubers out there looking for any advice, that's the best advice I can give you.
To add to that, let's expand on that a little bit, Merck. By lifting early, does that allow you to save a little bit of tire?
Yeah, because you're gonna have the most tire, you're gonna have the most wheel into the car when you're entering the corner. So if you're still on the throttle and you're on the wheel at the same time, basically what you're doing is you're overloading the right front tire. The tire only has so much grip in it before it starts sliding. When it starts sliding, it builds up heat, and then once it gets too hot, then it slides even more. So yes, you want to be off the throttle as you turn into the corner.
All right. Good information there from Ron and Jeff Merck here. Let's keep an eye. It's a back and forth up front. Corey Blevins, John Pansula show here. Tierheimer trying to stick his nose into it. That's all three of our picks. Wow, what a coincidence. Maybe we know something. Not sure, but 0-1 of John Pansula sticking it to the back. Blevins running a completely, defensive line at the moment. Now, when you're out front and we're still nose to tail like this, Jeff, is it good to run this defensive line, or would you save that for an end of a run scenario?
Well, I mean, you want to be out front if you can, because these cars are very aero dependent. You get what's called an aero push when you're behind another car, which means you got to put more wheel into the car. We've already went over the whole more wheel, more tire wear scenario. But I think the guy that's really in the catbird seat, them two out front, racing so hard this early is Wally Tierheimer. He's just sitting back there. I mean, really just like he's just riding. So I expect him in the next 10 laps, he'll probably be in the lead.
All right, and with 8 laps in the books, I'd like to see if we can take a walk through the field. If you want to start us at the front, Mr. Wood, we'll walk through the field.
All right. Well, Corey Blevins now leading this race, at least by a car length. Looks like he's worn out of John Pansula's tires a bit, running there side by side, crossing over first. That 0-1 is in second. Wally Tierheimer going to be making his move, according to Jeff Merck, there for third. So he's there. A little bit of a blink there on my end for the 75 machine. Going to see what these guys do. Wesley Whitfield up there in fourth. 74 running strong. We'll have to see. He started second. Obviously can find some speed. And fifth now, it's caught up, and that is Matt Egan in the 057. Jeff, the next five.
Yeah, we have Chris Boyles, like he's up one spot to sixth. He's over a second back from the leader. Topper Dugas running seventh place. He's 2 seconds back. We got Thornhill running in 8th place right there behind Top. Looks like he's getting ready to maybe move up a spot. James Haney in 9th, or what? Actually just said he jumped up to 8th. And Tony Romack, my teammate, in 10th. Just biding his time. Go get him, Tony Romack.
Yeah, 62 just sitting there doing what he can for right now, looking for speed. But we'll move on to 11th place, which is technically now John Henderson and that 111 machine. I believe he's up for a new number here into the new winter season, as he was really dedicated to the Cup Series. So John Henderson, 17th to 11th so far early on this race, 12 laps going around this track. Sean Dewar slipping way back there. He will be in 12th, just biding his time, probably looking for a little bit of speed on that track. Andrew Feston in that 110 machine, he is our next guy. He's trying to get back to Sean Dewar's bumper. We'll see how that develops. Gene Rogers, a lot of fast time in practice, not seeing that so much here during the race. Started to 6th, all the way back to 14th. So falling off maybe due to tires. Trent Drum falling back a little bit himself. He's in 15th spot in that 12 machine. I'll finish out the next couple guys here. Lee Ryson Jr. is 16th in a good little battle here with Judd Danielson in that 85 machine, who is 17th. That will leave our only guy on pit road, Joel Bay, in the 202 machine. He may have turned it in early tonight. So we'll get back up front. We'll see how that battle's going on. And John Pansula has the lead with Wally Tierheimer second, and it looks like Blevins is stuck at the top.
Yeah, and there comes that Wally Tierheimer that one of the broadcasters had discussed earlier about him just sitting back there in the catbird seat watching first and second battle it out. And now one of the guys that was battling for the lead just dropped all the way back to fourth. So let that be a lesson to you YouTubers out there who's trying to pick up on pointers. You can be fast early in the run, but if it's a long run, you're hurting yourself.
Yep, I mean, Pansula has found a way to stay fast during that battle scenario with, gosh, that number is really messing with my mind. Corey Blevins with that custom number on, really messing with me. Matt Egan, you know, no one's going to pick him. I talk with the guy all the time. Running third, he's under fire here from Blevins, so I don't know. Matt Egan may have some surprises here in store for us tonight.
Wouldn't that be cool? Seriously, wouldn't that be cool if Matt?
Yeah, like Corey might have gave Matt Egan a little shot there going into one. I don't know, maybe their lift points are a little different, and he got a little help there.
Yeah, that was definitely help. Sorry to cut you off, Ron, but he definitely different points of entry into that corner. Just behind them, too, is Chris Voiles and Wesley Whitfield. Wesley Whitfield a little bit falling back, steadily, not, you know, excessively falling back, but second to sixth so far for Wesley Whitfield.
Here comes Egan. Egan jumping up into that second spot.
Yeah. Egan there is, yeah, I think you're right, Jeff. I think old Matt Egan might have something for him tonight. It looks like he's got a hot run under him.
Yeah, well, he finished third in that first super late model race that you won there, Jeff Merck. I believe that was at Five Flags. So, first super late model asphalt race, short track race, and we haven't seen a lot here on Loose Lug Nuts.
And 3 wide on the front stretch.
Yep, there goes Chris Voiles. Wally Tierheimer. Who gives?
Yeah, here, Mr. Wood, I really don't think there's a give. I mean, if you get 3 drivers that can really hold a line, I mean, you could realistically run 4 wide here with 4 skilled drivers. You could run all the way around here 4 wide.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think we'd see that more or less in the Cup under the blanket scenario with that aero package. But yeah, you're right. You could do it 4x4. This is wide enough here. Chris Voiles marching Tierheimer up to the top of the track with the better speed. Tierheimer with the crossover there, not going to maintain the speed though as we go through turn 1.
No, I don't know if either one of y'all saw it or if it was just me. Did anybody else see? Did it look like Wally Tierheimer was smoking his right front coming off of that corner?
Yeah, it looked like he pushed real hard up to the wall, lost a lot of speed, and then came up and did that crossover. And he's fallen. I mean, he's lost 6 car lengths in this lap.
Yeah, because I noticed I saw a lot of smoke, and if he smoked that right front that bad, I mean, he's going to lose a lot more spots than the few he's lost now because. When you smoke that right front, I mean, it just gives up on you so fast.
So tell us real quick, Jeff, because you're obviously the most recent person to be racing. You're actually still currently racing. Talk about the difference between the Xfinity car and the Cup car and Aero Push.
Well, the Aero Push is the cars are designed to have maximum downforce on the front of the cars. The Xfinity cars is actually harder to drive now than the Cup cars. A lot of people don't realize the Cup package. Anything a mile and under has full horsepower. Anything a mile and over, the car only has about 500 horsepower to create pack racing. So a track like this in the Cup car, I mean, you can almost run it flat to the floor for 10 or 15 laps. So that is here. You cannot run an Xfinity car wide open on lap 1. That's really the difference.
And as we talk about that, I'm just gonna make a statement of the obvious right now. John Pansula is out in front, and he is out in front big.
Yeah, battles going on for second. Matt Egan finally giving up second place after marching up towards the front. But that time difference, now, like you said, John Pansula is out front and big too, almost 2 seconds right now, running about 1.5 ahead of second place. He battled with Corey Blevins early on, door to door, first, second, and still has the tire and the speed to get out there. So congrats to him early on in this race. 20 laps completed thoroughly, and he's out there. What is the fuel window? I believe 75%. So what would you say that fuel window is, Jeff?
It'd be hard to tell without actually running some track time.
30 to
Yeah,
35.
probably in that window somewhere. But the thing you want to watch about Pansula is if you watch, he runs the same line every lap, and that is very crucial to having a consistent lap time. You have to hit your marks. Like even when you're listening to the real guys, hit your marks, hit your marks, hit your line, hit your line, hit your line, and that's how you run consistently fast laps.
All right. In the end of the summer season on the ASN side of things, me and Matt noticed a lot of fuel runs coming up. Atlanta, obviously we were just here recently at Auto Club. I think that's going to turn into here tonight if we stay under this green flag. So big crucial thing is pitting nowadays. You can be fast on the track even. We've seen our big names out there in the past. Wes Holland, James Lehman, guys that won multiple races, Mitch Reeves, champions like Jeff Merck, a lot of guys out there. If you don't hit that pit box sometimes just right with the worn out tires we're going to see here, you could slide through.
Yeah, even worse than that would. I mean, you say you get the transitioning between the banking and pit road, if you even hit that wrong, or if you hit it too hard and you have to get on the brakes too hard, you have too much front brake bias into it. You get on the brakes too hard and you loop it and nose it into the wall. There's tons of things that can go wrong. Just like in the real race cars, you can lose on pit road just as easy as you can win on pit road. And I've done both.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you brought up an interesting thing here. We talk about rookies in the summer season. We're going to have some new rookies come up here in the winter, but a lot of transferring over into commitment of loose lug nuts getting the full-time number. We'll air quote that out there. John Pansula out to this tremendous lead so far. We'll get back to covering that. But brake bias with fixed setups, it's about the only thing you can change other than steering ratio. A lot of guys don't want to give away steering ratio in their vehicle. I know it's a closely guarded secret. It's also, kind of a feel better or a racing style. But that brake bias, how hard is it to learn brake bias track to track?
Yeah, I mean it's just as important as steering ratio and steering offset, because you can run a lot of front brake bias, and I don't want to give too much away, but it'll help you turn. But the problem, I mean, because I still got to race some of these guys. The issue is when you do that, though, is if you go into a corner, you're going to be able to go into the corner a lot harder than a guy in front of you. And if you ever have to really get on the brakes, there's no stopping the car from spinning out on you if you got too much front brake bias in it.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, pit road entry, that type of thing. Brake bias learning, that's something, guarded secrets of what you use specifically from track to track or scenario to scenario, like how much your tires are wearing. And we haven't even got to that first pit stop. That's going to be coming up here shortly. Watching Ron flip through the drivers. We're pretty spread out here, not so much under a blanket. Here's a battle going on. That will be Wally Tierheimer and Corey Blevins. Oh, Romac crossing over the front of the nose of the 33 there.
And that's my teammate Tony Romac right there, taking care of those tires for the long run. And I was watching that exact battle when you switched over to it with Tierheimer, and man, that number's still killing me. It's so hard. Chris Boyles.
Blevins.
Yeah, Blevins, that's who it is. So yeah, those guys there were 4 cars under a blanket there.
Ooh, Romac almost slid that corner up. Had to ease out of the throttle, give Blevins some moves. Yeah, if you're noticing it on Ron's capturing our footage here, 48 is technically 25 on our board. So with custom paint numbers and all that, that kind of adds a little bit in. We ask the drivers to try to watch what they do. Sometimes it's easier for the dirt guys to run custom numbers versus our asphalt guys. So please try to stick to your number.
A couple notes here. Looks like what I had thought the number 68.
Whitfield in the wall, sorry.
Nope. Get to him real quick.
He recovered, but he was into that wall. Right front side damage for Wesley Whitfield. Continue, Ron.
Yep. Well, as I was going through the field, it looked like we had 2 cars that had damage upon further inspection. The 68 I thought had damage, does not, but Lee Ryerson Jr. does have heavy right front damage, and we'll be looking closely at the 74 right now, actually.
Yeah, well, looks like Wesley Whitfield's got a pretty good crease in the hood, and I'm right now looking at his rear chase, and you can definitely see a crease and can see a little bit of the right front. That's definitely going to hurt him on straightaway speed.
Yep, we're taking a real close look at it right now, and there's definitely some scrub damage behind the wheel too, so that he at some point, now again, they do have a fast repair, so that is a saving grace for them if there's a caution or something like that. Let's talk about that. If you are the leader right now, and we don't know when pit stops are coming, but you've got John Pansula out front. That guy don't want to see a caution at all tonight, the way that he's rolling, does he?
No, I mean, he has almost a 3-second lead, and I've been in that situation where you build up a big lead. I mean, you feel great, you're running out there, and you go, as long as this thing stays green, I'm golden. And as soon as you say that in your head, a caution is going to come out. And
Over for Jeff there.
exactly. I mean, it seems like I'm so snake bit when I'm on the track. I'll get a good run. I'll be consistent on my tires, consistent with my line, build a 3 or 4 second lead. Caution comes out, it evaporates, and these guys in this league are I don't know how to say it. They pay attention to what the fast guys
guy
are
in
doing,
front of them.
and they try to mimic it. So you have to be. So if you're running away from them, they're paying attention to that. And then the next time you go in and get tires, they do the same thing you do, and then they're just as fast as you are, so you can't get away from them. So anyone out there looking for a great league, Loose Lug Nuts is your place. I mean, we have something for everyone. We have a short track series, we have a dirt track series, we run trucks, we run Xfinity, we run A-cars. If Loose Lug Nuts doesn't have something for you, then just go drive Xbox. That's all I can tell you.
There you go. Used to run some, road course back in the day. Not really the cup of tea around here. There's some good road course drivers still out there. Watkins Glen, Road America guys that have those tracked down and memorized. But with Daytona coming up, who knows? Maybe Lugnuts attempts another team. We'll put that idea out there. We'll maybe even discuss that on the podcast coming up. But Pansula, if I'm him, I'm running that tank till it's empty, because you really have to worry about that caution coming out.
As the strategist that I am, here we go. The 01, all he has to do, technically speaking, is make one more lap. We're coming across 33. If he makes 34, it's in the bag. It's a 2-stop race for him, and that's it. All he's got to do is he can come down pit road this time and get his tires and his fuel and run the exact same way that he did. He gets in clean and gets off clean. I'm in blimp mode right now, and I can barely see second place. I cannot see him any longer.
Yeah, Chris Voiles almost 3 seconds back, as is Tierheimer. Tierheimer with great, run so far, not drifting. Chris Voiles really making himself known. And now the guy that we said at the end of the run that was going to show up, at least Jeff Merck did, that 62 machine of toting Romac, he's getting down there. That's
There we go.
Tierheimer
Pit stops.
down
Pit stops.
road.
Yep.
Oh,
Tierheimer
squirrely.
and Voiles both squirrely, but here they go. So Pansula, do you expect to see him next lap, Mr.
He
Merck?
has to. You don't want too much tire time difference.
Yeah, if I was paying Sula, I would have pitted up last time by, because with that lead, if you pit, you basically force the rest of the field to pit too, because they can't afford to give up any bigger of a gap.
All right, got the camera back on him. Let's see what he does.
Looks like
Pansula's
he's going
staying
for
out.
another lap.
He's gonna run this thing. Now this could hurt him, right?
I that's my consensus. I talk about it a lot when we get to those green flag pit stops. If you're the leader, we saw Blevins out here. He was winning a race at Atlanta, final race of the truck season, and blew it because he stayed out 10 laps longer than what he needed to, just on tires.
Yeah, because you give up at this track, you're probably giving up 3 to 6/10 a lap.
Well, I can tell you right now, fast lap 46.15. His last lap that he put down was at 42.478. So he's probably giving
And
up.
here comes Pansula.
Here he comes.
Down pit road right now.
Anderson down pit road topper. He's already been around. So this is the end of our pit cycle here.
Okay, so Pansula ran a 42.478. Let's see what Voiles runs here on this next lap, because he hasn't updated. That was his pit lap. We'll see what he runs. And Pansula ran 2 laps longer, so this will be kind of a determination of how much they cut off. And then of course when Pansula comes out of the pits, we'll see what the distance is between the two.
And Pansula was really slow into his box.
Yeah, I didn't like his left to right turn there into the box. I know that's probably more accurate simulation wise, but you got to cheese the sim a little bit here sometimes.
Oh, Voiles ran a 41.001, and Pansula is still on the apron coming out of the pits.
Oh
he's
yeah,
gonna have good
he's
tires
losing.
here. He'll catch them, but that's a lot of time away.
Yeah, but he's going to come out in 6th or 7th place.
Yeah, the leader is going into 3 now, and he's only halfway down the back straightaway. So I mean, he gave up. What would you say, Ronald? 5 or 6 seconds?
I think with this pit stop, if you guys could probably do this, because I don't have the ability to do the pit thing, but you could look at the lap, the lap that each person pitted and see what the difference is pit time wise, in the and you could tell how much longer it took John to get through his lap than it did Voiles.
Pansula's last lap on his out lap was 1:16.930.
Compared to which of Voiles? What was the comparison there?
And we'll go back to Chris Voiles.
A
and
second.
We'll
At least a second, maybe almost 2 seconds.
oh yeah, it was 1.8
But that's a lot
seconds.
of time under green
Yeah.
flag conditions.
So he lost a second and a half per lap, and then lost another 2 seconds in the pits. So there's your 4.2 seconds right there that he's behind them now. So we'll keep an eye on him. I'm focused on him right now. He's 4.4 seconds behind the leader. I don't expect him to take off.
Matt Egan, Heimer, Gene Rogers probably had a best pit stop of them all. Gene Rogers. He's going to fall back. There's a huge tire difference. Gene Rogers was the first one to pit.
Now is there an advantage here of learning your mistakes of what Pansula did?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has to see that that's not something. Now he's going to be faster than these guys, but I mean, realistically, he's only going to be faster than them for maybe 5 laps, because then his tires are going to drop off. I mean, and they're not going to be that big of a difference, because he gave up.
Well,
I
I
mean, tons and tons of time.
Look at how well, though, his line is. He has to put that in the past now. He had the best line on that first run there. He has to emulate that success to maybe, gap the time he lost. But you are right. He has to learn from that. He cannot push that car that many laps again just on tires. I think he was probably overly concerned on fuel getting one more stop, so to say, as Ron was pointing out, but he just overshot that mark.
Yeah, and what concerns you as a driver, um, because keep in mind, I mean, this is a simulator, but it's not like real life. You don't have a crew chief basically strategizing for you. You're the crew chief, you're the driver, you're the everything inside the car. So you're thinking, you can't think like a crew chief, you got to think like a driver. So he's more concerned, okay, if I go down first and the caution comes out, I'm in the back. So that's what he was afraid of, is the caution. But when you have a 3 or 4 second lead, you want to dictate to the field what the rest of the field has to do. You want to be the first one to go down pit road, because then everyone behind you isn't going to want to give up, what do we say, a second and a half a lap?
Yeah, under green flag conditions versus the tire difference. Yeah,
And
well,
that's a great point, Ronald, because I was thinking the same exact thing in my head. What Pansula's doing right now is, oh, I got to make that ground up, I got to make that ground up, I got to make that ground up, and all he's doing is killing his tires.
oh gee, I just thought I saw almost car spin there. That might have been the 202. No, he's off the track. The car there was 035 Elite Racing Jr., who went down a lap officially. But we mentioned a fast repair earlier on. Looks like the 74 Wesley Whitfield has allocated that fast repair, fixed up that machine, and is running a little bit smoother as Pansula knocks down another one. It's just going to have a long time to that front, but Wesley Whitfield, that 74, looks to be nice, looks to be running smooth. We'll have to see what he does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he definitely can't just sit back and he, like you said, Ronald, he definitely has to be aggressive dealing with these slower cars, because a lot of that too is the aero we were talking about really affects when you're back in traffic. You don't have the clean air like you do out front.
Yeah, Chris Voiles, though, the reason why we're seeing the big time difference, even where you look at the fast guy, John Pansula, Chris Voiles now has that clean air with no pressure on his shoulders, and he's running his race there in that 28 machine, the Hardee's sponsored orange and white. He's got his race in the bag, just like Pansula did on that last run. So marching the drum right now is Chris Voiles. Yes. I would definitely short pit here.
Yeah, as soon as
Lap 65. Yeah. He has to. In my mind.
right now he's 4.5 seconds back. So I mean, if you figure one lap, if he pits one lap, that gives him a second and a half, realistically, depending on how he gets down pit road. Because John Pansula did give up a lot of time getting into his box, I'm afraid. So yeah, I would definitely short pit it as soon as my spotter told me, hey, we're good on fuel, you hit pit road.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't do that left to right thing, Mr. America. I know if you were watching him, that's kind of the scenario you see in real life, or what you try to emulate when you got some cars behind you during a caution flag pit stop. But blow those boxes if no one's there with you. Um, cheese it a little bit is a box or something length worth. That way you're not doing a left or right. That's a lot of time, tense wise, to make up on pit road.
Yeah, and what it really wasn't the left to right I was referring to. It's just, oh, and 74 just knocked down the outside wall coming off of 4, and he hit it a ton.
No faster pair left.
Yeah, and when you see the car jump like that when it hits the wall, you know, oh yeah, look, you can look at that hood and there's a big crinkle on the right side. I mean, that hood is bowed massively.
Yeah, Blevins, good run there in the beginning, duking it out there with Pansula. Doesn't seem to have the long run car here at Auto Club. We'll have to monitor where that 48 or 25 machine. We'll have to wonder why he chose 48. But Tierheimer there, like you said, gonna close it down. Ford Mustangs really showing their thing out here. Boyles with that Mustang, Tierheimer with the Mustang, and I think Mr. Pansula was running a Mustang. Yeah, he is. So
Yeah, I've been watching the lapse time Ronalds between John and Chris Boyles, and he's realistically 1.5 to 2 tenths a lap faster than the leader is right now. But he's still 4 seconds back. That's a lot of laps to make up 4 seconds. Yeah, because he has like a second and a half between him and the third place car, Wally Tierheimer. So he's definitely going to have, just like having clean air until probably within a second of the driver. He just ran a 41.653. The later run a 41.9. So wow, 3 tenths on that lap. So he went from a 4-second gap to a 3.7.
anyone else seeing right side damage on the 01? Could just how I'm loading into iRacing or whatnot, but
Yeah, I'm on his right front suspension, Jeff Wood, and I don't see any. I mean, it's clean as a whistle.
all right, good. All right. Well, I mean, he's gonna catch that 48, 25 machine, 75. Tierheimer up to second. I put Tierheimer's name down. He's been consistent up the front, at least second to third. Our picks are all still there. Pansula's around, and who did you pick again, Jeff Merck?
I picked one Mr. John Pansula, the 01 car.
All right, yeah, Pansula. Yeah. However, Chris Boyles could dictate the rest of this race, even with losing some time right now on track to Mr. Pansula. It's going to be difficult if Chris Boyles has the same type of mindset and goes, you know what, I can stretch the last one and work the entire race. So he might short pit and cancel out anything that John Pansula wants to do.
Yeah, he's down to a 3.2 second gap.
All right. Well, some of these guys through the field here. I'm gonna look at that 111 real quick. We're about 10 laps, probably the start of pit cycle yet again. John Henderson in that 111, 17th to 7th. That's 10 spots so far this race. He was probably up a little bit further, but I think his tires are wearing, or Matt's tires are wearing. Not really sure. So we'll have to see how that goes with that 111. I just wanted a quick spotlight on that machine. 10 spots so far for a race. That's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, Matt looked like he just gave him the preferred line. He ran way up the hill. I'm sure just I have my chat muted. I'm sure he told him just to go.
Yeah. Well, look at the back of that 74 machine. We, have called him a couple times for nailing that wall. He's still fast somehow, 5th position. All right,
Yeah, and
Pantsula,
Ronald,
second spot.
yeah, if you want to go into the Wesley Whitfield and go to the gyro cam, it gives you a real good view of that right front, just basically like a big umbrella up in the air. And that's definitely hurting him down the straightaways. Oh, and John Pansola is up to second place now, only 2.7 seconds back. So in the last 3 laps, he's picked up 2 spots and knocked almost a second off of the leader's gap.
Yeah, Tierheimer and Blevins running under a blanket. It was an easy 2 spots there for John Pansula to capture. So we're at the end of this next run here, coming up within the next 10 so laps of fuel in my mind. So it has to be Pansula thinking about when he wants to pit. I think Ron said officially on the board 65 to 66 lap marker, at least 65 full complete before he goes down. Yeah, he pitted lap 35 into lap 36.
Yeah, and the thing is if Pansula does not catch him before lap 65, he has to go when Boyles goes, because that basically tells him, even with the fresher tires, I won't be able to run him down before he gets to the checkered flag.
And we mentioned, the drivers are their own crew chiefs. They're their own everything, pits, everything strategies up to them. We do have this neat little thing in board with the car we can't see here on Exile Broadcasting, but when you're in the car, you have little screens that you can toggle through. What Chris Voiles has to be watching right now is his relative. When he starts to see Pansula just fall back, that'll normally indicate that he's pitting.
Yeah, and I'm still watching the lap time. There's only about a 5,000th of a second a lap difference now. So, I mean, they're almost running exact same lap times. I mean, 5,000ths of a second. I mean, that's probably a little slower than a blink. So you're
And this is what we're going to figure out in the end here, at the end of this run at least. I think Chris Voiles has to get her to about the same spot, uh, maybe a lap longer than what John Pansula does based on when he pitted. So Voiles going to have to stretch it. We're going to see about a second gap, maybe less, as long as John Pansula keeps climbing the speed chart versus Chris Voiles. So who knows where they're going to end up? It's going to come down to this final pit stop cycle as long as we remain under the green flag. Whoever has the most crucial and effective pit stop as the times start to get closer might end up winning this race.
Yeah, and I really seen what you were talking about there too, Ronald. I was watching the actual lap times, and that lap he knocked off almost 0.4 of a second, and he went from 1.673 the previous lap, and that lap is a 1.485, so that's almost another 0.3 of a second.
Matt Egan crashed his car on entry to pit road. He clears it, no caution.
Oh yeah, and
Thornhill in his box.
Matt got looked like that might have been a call out error on Matt there. He went to go down pit road and the car turned under him, so I'm not sure if he announced he was pitting.
Yeah, probably carrying too much speed for that transition there. Went to hit those brakes and it just cut left, like we were talking about, that brake bias on entering pit road.
Yeah, you definitely, if you're Pansula, regardless of what the leader does, I would take it down pit road this time.
Yeah, he does, but also, I mean, Chris Voiles is running his own race out front. He has to be seeing Pansula get in that rearview mirror a little bit more. I'm the 28 machine. I want to do what Pansula should have done and dictate the pit stop, not seeing 28 signal down pit road. Neither is Pansula. Yeah. Had some shout out there on YouTube side. Katie rooting on Topper, obviously. Topper has to close out the end of this race. I think he's already pitted, so he's at the long end of a run here to close out the race. We'll have to monitor what he does. Voiles, Pansula, neither of them pitting again. Watching Tierheimer, he's through.
Their spotter has to be yelling in their ear to come in for more fuel. Yeah, Blevins is on pit road right now.
Blevins is no slouch. He could win this race if these guys, stay out and do, well, you're not catching me on this run type. So
and he hit the pit board perfectly. So he's gonna have
another
great
lap
pit
for
stop.
our leaders. Nope, he stays out. Henderson is now fourth. I didn't catch. There goes Blevins away. I'm running through the board real quick. He's going to have a good run on this. These guys right here. Fresh tires by a lap or two.
Oh yeah, he's just making up. I mean, he's making up so much time.
Yeah, he just cracked
Oh,
the
here
top
comes
10.
the leader, and John Pansula stays out for an extra
Oh.
lap. No! Come on, Pansula!
Listen to the broadcast. Yeah, Boyles and Tierheimer are on the same schedule, obviously, probably in the same team speak, come to think of it.
He has to pit. He cannot stay out. If he stays out
He
another
can't do
lap,
that again.
he will not win this race.
He cannot do that again. Well, I mean, he had a poor pit stop time last go around. That hurt him, but also, like we've been mentioning, that tire difference, he cannot try to make up 7 spots again.
No, and he's not coming again.
Oh boy, Blevins lost the race like this at Atlanta. I hope he listened to me and Matt Egan talk about why he lost that race, because he had it in the bag. Pansula, if he loses this race, I hope he goes back and listens to us here on Exile Broadcasting talk about why he lost this race, because it's a tire thing. It really is. He is going to have to pit, and he's going to be extremely slow into the box as the guy who is going to end up leading this race overall. I think maybe there's a battle going on for first, and that will be... Sheesh.
Yeah,
There's the 2
because
fast guys.
Corey Blevins in traffic just ran a 40.7.
There we go. That's qualifying time.
Yeah, because Blevins is just put himself back on the lead lap the hard way.
Yeah, he'll be a leader after we cycle through. Pansula scooted up to the middle of the track, forcing Boyles up. So that's going to be the battle we have to watch. Pansula down now.
Oh yeah, he came in. John, Ronald, sorry to cut you off, but he came in to pit road at 49 miles an hour.
Ooh, that is way slow. Yeah, 55 is the limiter there for this pit road. Pansula into his box a lot better than the first time.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely wasn't as slow that time, but I think him being in traffic as he was trying to get down onto the transition is really what did him in on his pit road entry speed.
He hasn't been a strong long run car here so far this evening, but like we said, he made up the most time due to when he pitted. He dictated it. He's been one of the fast guys all night, but he dictated that last pit stop to all the leaders, and none of the leaders responded. Yeah, Wally's trying to catch. Whitfield's still in that mix there in that 74 machine, holding on there. Topper Dugas scored 5th, but he has pitted well before our fast leaders. Pansula, 7.5 seconds back. What a battle up front, though. Blevins not giving up that fast line.
Chris Voiles and Corey Blevins is definitely Chris Voiles was moving back and forth on him to try to break the air.
Now, if you're Voiles, you think after leading all that, I want to be back up front. However, I mean, I guess we got the outside perspective to watch the 48 not successfully make a long run of tires compared to what maybe Pansula and Voiles have done this evening. Do you wait if you're Voiles?
Yeah, exactly what Ronald just said. You try to force him into making a mistake, just like the real drivers do. You put pressure on him, you get really close to him, uh, and late in the run. This is racing after all. I mean, 2, 3 laps to go. There's no rule saying you can't, push him off into the corner a little faster than he wants to go, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, that is a possibility. Here goes the pass. I just think Chris Wills has the faster machine. Blevins may be able to stick with him for a few laps, but there goes that clean air.
Yeah, he was killing him on entry and exit really. So unless the 28 is like just burning his stuff up, it might be over. Pansula's still over 7 seconds back. He would have to run the best 22 laps of his life to get back up there.
We saw something close to it. Kyle Chadwick won the championship and won the final race at Atlanta. So after the Blevins incident, it was Chadwick's race again at Atlanta, and Ray Richer stormed the field with a tire difference. And I don't think you can make that up. This isn't as Atlanta. However, there's a chance.
Yeah,
I'm seeing 3/10.
Yeah, and he didn't even knock off 3/10 that lap. He was about 2.7 tenths on that lap.
Yep, 20 to go here at the line as the Voiles has passed that line a half a lap ago. But Blevins now fallen back in second place. Wally Tierheimer has to get to the Blevins for eventual pass, because I think Pansula may crack that podium horizon. But like you said, with the time difference, not really catching Chris Boyles, we'll have to see as that goes. Let's look through the field at some of the other drivers. Just outside of that top 5 spot there is Gene Rogers and Topper Dugas, who are having a little bit of a battle.
Yeah, I was going to say, that looks like about the closest battle we have in the field is those two there. And no, Top, I talked to him when we were on the tracks. He's a very respectable driver. As we all know, Topper Dugas and Katie Dugas, they both have the last name, with Katie doing our write-up she does for our Facebook. She does a great job doing that, so a shout out to Katie.
All right. Yeah. John Henderson there inside that top 10. Tony Romack, your teammate there, Jeff Merck, made a little bit of the same mistake, stayed out probably a little bit longer than what he should have. If he's going to get a couple more spots, he's going to have to hope for that long run fall off with Gene Rogers, Topper Dugas, John Henderson. The same thing we've been seeing overall. But can Romack get back into the top 5? We'll have to see. A guy that's probably had a successful night comparatively to what his amount of time on track was during this session. Brandon Thornhill rolling around in 10th spot there.
Yeah, we're so spread out now. It'd be really, unless 2 cars really get together, knock on wood, it's going to be real hard for us to get a caution because we're so spread out. There's really, even if you slid sideways on the track, there'd be no car close enough to you for you to be considered in danger.
Yeah, 5.8, the mark at the line compared to Chris Boyle's mark at the line for Pansula. Blevins continues to slide back, still hanging on to second. Don't know if Wally can catch Blevins, but Blevins still had the best pit cycle there on that last run. Fuel is all wrapped up in our minds at the moment, so we'll have to wonder what goes on the rest of the race. Wesley Whitfield falling back a position. Trying to get some shout outs here. Sean Dewar, James Haney with a side-by-side battle outside of the top 10. Oh,
Yeah.
well, he may be there, but I'm throwing a block if I'm Chris Voiles.
Yeah, you'd have to wreck me, that's for sure.
Yeah, buffed out,
Yeah,
popped out,
definitely done
pop
a
it
good
in.
job of taking care of those tires. Wow, John Pansula just knocked 4/10 off of that lap, on that one lap, 4/10 of a second.
Fastest car for sure.
Yeah, so that leaves, it's going to be close then, because that's only 6/10 with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Chris Voiles just pushed turn 4 a little bit. He's coming up on lap traffic, guys that are technically still, you know, we would say allowed to battle for their lead spot. That is Andrew Feston. He'll probably give it away when Voiles gets right up to him, but we'll have to see. Yep, just dives it down the track. There goes the 28 machine. Easy pass on a lap car.
All right, folks at home watching, take a quarter out of your pocket, flip it. Heads, he catches him. Tails, he doesn't. It's going to be that close.
No, not with the block that's going to come out of
it's
turn 4.
definitely good. Yeah, the cars get wider on the white flag lap.
He's marching it, though. Let's see how much Blevins slows down Tierheimer. That's going to be a battle coming up that Pansula has to watch in front of him. We saw Pansula on that last run have to pass them at the same time, that being Blevins and Tierheimer. So does he do it again, and how fast can he get around 2 fast guys in front of him? Probably blew a corner or something. Probably got to get his head back into the game. 12 laps here left in this race.
Yeah, and he was at 4.051 the lap before that. He's at 3.999 that lap, so not even a tenth. And I think that's probably that scenario me and you were discussing, Ronald. He just saw the gap and pushed it so hard for as long as he could, and now the tires are starting to give up on him. Oh yeah, because like you said, it's 10 to go at 3.7. I mean, he has to make up almost 4/10 every lap.
110 into the wall there. This is not what Pansula wants to see, or maybe he does. Maybe that's the ultimate time. A little bit of a tire rub there from the 75 and the 25.
Oh yeah, he had him going into the corner. Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, when
he's been
Pansula
strong.
gets there, he's gonna make easy work of the two cars in front of him because he's calling them. He'll definitely get second, which is a really good run. But you know, for when you're in a race that's designated, and don't take it the wrong way, of guys that haven't won races in the past, doesn't mean they're not fast drivers. It just means the competition is so tight over here at Loose Lug that it's hard to win a race now.
Yep, most definitely. Recent stat boards, you can't compare it. I always tell people, you see that Dan Elisa, the overall stats for loose lug nuts, the number one on the board, don't even bother. That guy's not going anywhere. Yeah. He is the defending Cup Series champion prior to Jeff Gilmore getting that summer title. So he's still able to win races. Wes Holland, the driver we are mentioning there at the top of the board here, winding down the last few laps. Going to be coming to 6 to go at the line, officially getting 94 through the books. There's Chris Voiles. He still has 3.6 right now. We'll have to see where he comes across the board. Pansula, 3.3. He's knocking down sometime, but not overall. Tierheimer there going to be next up on the board. We counted it out. He's going to come home second, I think, John Pansula, but, just a little bit short. Now, is it driver here, or do we got to look at the three Mustangs out front?
Yeah, it's definitely a driver's track. I mean, you can pinch a driver down into the corner and you can make it a lot harder to pass, depending on how bad you want the spot. And I mean, laps are winding down, so just like Pansula got by pretty quick. But, I mean, Wally could have made it a lot harder.
Yeah, he could have. 75 moves back to third spot. Pansula, trying to break that arrow. There goes Wally, gonna pressure the 01 there just a little bit. So Pansula second place and has to make the long march over the next 4 laps. I don't think 3 seconds over 4 laps is feasible. Trent Drum.
Yeah, and I'm riding along with Chris. Really, the only thing he's doing right now is he's watching the standings meter, watching his gap, and he's really rolling the center, really letting the car roll a lot. He pretty much knows he has this one in the bag. He's just maintaining his line. He's not pushing it too hard, and he's just looking for that black and white flag to end it.
.42 fours on Chris Voiles towards end of his first run. End of the second run, he was hitting 42 fours. So, yeah, he's not too far off the mark.
Yeah, and I want to see what this lap time is too, because he was also tucked up behind that other car. Oh yeah, 42-1. Yeah, that's
Sheesh.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, sometimes slower is the fast way around. You know, sometimes when you don't have no pressure, that's when you run your fastest laps.
Yeah, I mean, Pansula's, doing something. He's closed at least a 100th somewhere along that line. Gosh, Pansula's last lap there was 42.0. Yep, Chris Voiles, steady as she goes, will win this race. Coming to the checkered flag here at Auto Club Speedway, Loose Lug Nuts official non-winner points race winners. There goes Chris Voiles. Maybe that gets him over the hump for the season. Pansula will come in second. Tierheimer third. A guy that made a great move at the end will be fourth. That would be Corey Blevins. Wesley Whitfield holds onto that machine fifth. Ron's going to go ahead and get those guys waiting for an interview. We'll roll down the rest of the board. Henderson, 6th. Romack, 7th, made up a few spots there. Thornhill, 8th. Sean Doerr, 9th. James Haney up to 10th. Not sure where the rest of these guys, it looks like Trent Drum and the guys that still finished will be 11th. Andrew Feston, 110. He'll be 12th. Topper Dugas at 33 machine, 13th. He really fell back there at the end. Gene Rogers, 14th. Matt Egan stays on the field after crashing the car. Only holds it one lap down, 15th. Guys out of the race or did not finish will be Lee Ryson Jr., Judd Danielson, Joel Bay. So that will round out our 18-car field. We'll go ahead and kick it off with our interviews, Ron. All right, Chris Voiles, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, man, I got a copy.
All right. Maybe this gets you over the hump there coming into the next winter season, getting an official win, but special event when you can mark that off the board. How does it feel? What did you do? And tell us about your race.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I got my number back. I finally got the 28 back on the side of the car after a long season of running a 009, and it's the little things that give you a little more confidence, and I'm glad the race went as good as it did. John had me worried there, but I'd like to thank Wally, my teammate, and John and everybody racing clean. I mean, that was just a great race.
Yeah, 100 laps, green flag. Didn't do much on the pit stops. You had probably a good, consistent car. You were really putting the pedal down there at the end. What did you save there to make such great, almost qualifying times?
Honestly, at the end there, I was I really wasn't putting any laps down. I was just kind of reserving my tires, saving them in case John caught me, and I'd have something to race him with. But I guess slower is faster.
Boy, you sound like us up here in the booth. I think that was said not but 5 minutes ago. So, 28 Machine, victory lane here this evening. Any final shout outs you want to give for your first place?
Again, I'd like to thank all my teammates. Wally was in the race with me here. I think he finished third. I got some, I believe, watching. Rob and Andrew, I believe they were watching, and all my other Bandit Racing teammates that may have been watching. Matt, Kerry, all of them. I mean, this was a fun race. I'm glad I got to participate in it.
All right, Chris. Thank you for coming out here. Like I said, get over that hump. Go win a points race. We'll see you during the winter season coming up and also the preseason. Good luck for the rest of that.
All right, thank you guys for the broadcast.
No. One Mr. John Pansola, how are you, buddy? This is Jeff Merck up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. Oh man, if you had it to do over as fast as you were on long runs, would you have stayed out and ran those extra 3 or 4 laps on every long green flag run?
No, sir. I knew I blew it. I might have got away with the first one, but I waited too long on the second one, honestly. I think Chris had me about, 2.9 seconds or whatever, but at the finish. But, yeah, I blew it. I actually should have pitted probably maybe 1 lap earlier on the first one than I did, and 1 lap earlier on the second one.
Yeah, and I was telling the guys up here in the booth, and we give each other such a hard time when we're racing each other over the radio. And I was saying, once you got that big lead out front that first time, you basically would have controlled the field. If you would have pitted, everybody behind you would have had to pit it, because then you're only making the gap bigger. Still a great run for the 01 car. You're normally a fast guy out there, a very clean racer. Anything you got to say or think or anyone like that?
Well, yeah, of course, Loose Lug Nuts, great league. Boy, I struggled, man. I'm telling you, the Winter Series and then the Summer Series, I had a couple personal issues to tend to, so I wasn't able to race like I really wanted to. But man, I definitely like to thank Loose Lug Nuts, ASN, and Exile tonight. I believe this is Exile, correct?
It is indeed.
I really appreciate them broadcasting tonight. Great run for Wally and Chris. Yeah, I miscalculated. I'm a little rusty right now. Been really super busy on the personal end of things, and probably just wasn't thinking straight.
And that happens to the best of us. You definitely had, in my opinion, you had the fastest car of the night. Just have to give your crew chief a talking to when you see him.
Yeah, 10-4. I'd like to thank John, Hendrick, and yourself too as well. Appreciate you guys a lot. Can't wait for the winter season to start.
I do. How you doing? Well, you're absolutely right. It was great racing. It was a lot of drivers using their heads, a lot of give and take, a lot of common sense. There wasn't crazy stuff happening. Luckily, there were no cautions. So cautions, no cautions breed no cautions. So we were strung out and everyone did their thing. Nobody made any huge mistakes on the track, at least up in our area, because seemed to be up there. Up in the front most of the race, except for when we were pitting through, but it didn't look like anyone really messed up. So it was an awesome race, and I take my hat off to all the guys, man. Everyone did a great job. Yeah, I love the car. Thanks. Yeah, Carl's Jr. That's I've been working with Carl's Jr. for the last 13 years, so it's always nice to have the burger on the back and the star on the front. So and Chris and the rest of us at Bandit Motorsports, we run together, have a lot of fun. Thank him and the guys, and usually my mom likes to tune in and watch, and actually my son and my wife were going to tune in today, but it wasn't on a different channel, so I like to thank them anyway. They'll watch it back maybe. And I just want to say John ran a hell of a race. I mean, he was fast, and every time he was, after a pit cycle, he'd be like 4 seconds back, and all of a sudden he was past me. So he ran a great race too. So, and thank you guys. Thank you for putting this on. It's always a great time.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeff Wood over here in the booth of Exile Broadcasting. I have to commend you. That was a great move there on that last pit cycle. I think that was your best opportunity to come with the best possible finish of the night. In my mind, you didn't seem to have the full long run as some of the other guys did. Do you feel the same way, or do you think you were just a little bit more conservative?
I think I was really aggressive on my tires, honestly, regards to that's the way it normally goes here at this racetrack. I'm normally like it's 10, 15 laps and then it just goes away. I just don't know if I know how to save tires here because it just really wants to push up to the wall. But I was doing everything I could, maybe hoping for a caution there, and then I would have really had trap position to get a really good finish there. But fourth is not too bad.
Yep, fourth not too bad. Starting out there in the front, anyways, you finish out towards the front. Uh, you know, at what point during the race did you have to, go? You know what? This is going to be a fourth place finish for me, or whatever you were running at the time.
Yeah, it was towards the end of the second run, towards before getting to the second pit stop. I knew that they were a little bit quicker, and I knew that I'd have to come in a little earlier than they did to have any chance, to try to gain some more track position. But I knew then it was going to be more of a, second to fifth place run. But still satisfied with that. But always want a little bit more. But you know what? Not too bad. At least it didn't wreck.
Yeah, that's the point there. Not wrecking out. Good finish for here tonight. Any final shout outs you want to give? Sponsors, that kind of thing.
I got Heartland Payment Systems, company I work for, on my car, and then Keys Architects and Associates on my car as well, and then I design all my cars and everything. So,
all right, Corey, thanks for that. We'll talk more probably during the preseason and on into the winter side.
all right, very good. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Whitfield, you bring home the car in fifth position. What did you think about it? You like the car? You like the track?
It was a good race. I was a little tight. I just couldn't do nothing with it. Done all I could do. The old Gardner Marsh Bondurant Brothers Distillery Chevrolet was running pretty good tonight.
Yeah, 10-4. Now, we were watching you on camera there that one time, and looks like you got the wall really hard there off of 4. I saw the car jump around a little. What did that do to your handling once you got up against the wall?
It got really tight. Really tight.
Yeah, we went into the gyro cam there, and you could see down inside your hood, and you could see a little bit of the tire. And we went around your car and kind of talked about it a little. Just thought we'd point that out and let you explain to the fans at home kind of what the car felt like once you got up against the wall. Any sponsors, anything like that you'd like to give a shout out to?
The Gardner Marsh and Bondurant Brothers Distillery up in Chase City, Virginia.
All right, well, good. Go ahead.
Thanks to the Loose Lug Nuts for putting this on. It was really a good race. Good. Been a long time since I run one flag to flag green.
Yeah, Loose Lug Nut's definitely a great place to race. I run 4 nights a week over here during the regular season. Real nice bringing her home in 5th place, and you can't beat a flag to flag green, that's for sure.
No, sir. Well, y'all have a good one. I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from qualifying to racing, Chris Voiles, 10th place car to 1st place. So congrats to him on for winning this race. Pansula, hands down, probably the fastest car in the night. I don't think Jeff Merck could say any different to that himself, but not able to finish it. Drivers, if you're watching and you feel like you had one of those evenings, there's a good chance we talked to you about you, and maybe what we would have done differently. Obviously, John Pansula recognizes that already about where he should have pitted. That's the grasp of the evening. Pitting during these long green flag runs, they got to make sense of when you pit and how you pit.
Yeah, exactly, Jeff Wood. Yeah, I mean, we give some of the drivers a little bit of a hard time when we. It's easy when you're up in the booth watching the cars go around the track to go, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. But once you slide that helmet down over your ears, it's a totally different mindset. I really enjoyed being up here in the booth with you guys. This is my first time being in the booth. It's definitely an experience, but I'm definitely looking forward to taking off this suit and tie and putting the fire suit back on tomorrow and be running around on the track.
Yeah, Ron, how about it? Are we going to be out here tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly, Ronald. And once you said that, there's no greater advertisement for loose lug nuts in this race. And keep in mind that all these drivers that were out here was drivers that um, have never won a race before in loose lug nuts, and and it was a great race. I mean, like Ronald said, from start to finish, it was good racing all over the track. You don't have to be the fastest guy on the track to run at loose lug nuts and still have competition all around you. We have competition from the fastest guys to the slowest guys, front to back. There's great racing everywhere, and our broadcasters doesn't just broadcast the guys up front. They broadcast good racing no matter where it is in the field.
All right, yeah. My board's already done and gone away. It closed its app. Yep, tomorrow night, people, the Cup car Charlotte here. So we'll have that on board. Signing off here on Exile Broadcasting. Good to be up in the booth with all different guys this time. We'll see you tomorrow night, everyone. Have a safe night and keep an eye on that hurricane, people out there on the Florida coast.